Hey, today I'll be showing you some upgrades I did on the homemade G-Klasse. Since the last video, I added a bigger engine with 9 horsepower and electric start, which means I no longer have to start the engine, but a simple push of a button will do to fire up the engine. Since the old steering was a bit too floppy, I decided on upgrading that as well. The new steering will be a rack and pinion steering system, which should make the steering more precise. I also added a front independent suspension, more precisely a double wishbone setup, just as it is in the real G-Klasse. The rear setup will also be similar to the real G-Klasse, since it's getting a rigid axle suspension. You can see it here, with the engine mounted right on top of it. These are the struts for the back and also for the front, the ones in the front being a bit smaller. I welded up all the components and made this little jig in order to weld up the front suspension parts equally. Right here you can see me taking apart all the old structures and components, and since the old frame was never designed to have suspension, the new steering or even the electric started engine, which is also a bit bigger now, I had to improvise and adapt a few things. That's why some of the structures and parts don't look as nice as they might have if I've started everything from scratch. Here you can see the 4 small aluminium pieces which hold up the front tires and suspension components. Here you can see the setup for the left front tire with steering and suspension components. The tie rod pushes and pulls in order to turn the tire. That's the upper wishbone, and that's the lower wishbone. The geometry of those components have to be perfectly set up so that there is no camber or toe changes while going over a bump. Here you can see me adding a kind of a panhard rod. The panhard rod allows the back axle with the engine to move up and down, but not side to side. Here you can see the steering wheel and the steering column, which is made up out of two U-joints, which allows the rack and pinion part to be above your feet and not below it. Since I removed a lot of aluminium pieces that gave the frame strength, I added these cross members in order for the frame not to bend up in any situation. The new steering definitely feels more precise, but at low speeds there is still not enough slippage in the back tires to go around corners easily. I will probably have to add a differential on the back axle, and I'm hoping that I can make it lockable so that it's more off-road capable and is also similar to the real G-Class. Driving over these wooden pieces, you can see the suspension working, and you can even feel it being much more smooth. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm hoping I can upgrade the G-Class even more in the future.